Hi everybody, it's Erin from Epapere. Welcome back to the channel. Today I have Mom in the studio with me.
Hello.
And we are going to do some fun art lab stuff. So we've had several requests for me to make the coffee stain on camera for you so that you can see how it's done. For those that aren't familiar, I use this homemade coffee stain that I make. I use it a lot. And that's really I use it to stain things. I use it kind of sometimes as like a decoupage medium to glue down, you know, to do the top layer of glue for the napkins and stuff. Or, you know, sometimes other things. But the video that I'm referring to where we had all the requests to make it was the postage stamp charms. I used it to stain the mat board pieces. So I started out with kind of cream colored mat board like this. I used the coffee stain to stain the mat board and ended up with, where did I put the charms? I don't know. Anywho, they're put away right now, but I, you know, ended up with the stained charms. And I also have other colors. I have made my own tea stain. I have green and I have a lavender color, and I made these using not coffee, of course, but I used distress reinkers, and I think maybe some food coloring and stuff. So I'm going to show you how to make the basic coffee stain recipe, and then we're going to do an art lab experiment where I use watercolors in the tube to see if we can get a fun effect that way. So let's get started, shall we?
Go for it.
So the first thing that the supply that I have, you need a jar. I love using, if you like this Talenti gelato, I don't know if you can get it outside of the US, but we can get it here in the US. These containers are absolutely fantastic to reuse for this purpose, as well as a bunch of other things. They come with a threaded lid. Otherwise, I use one of these jars with the rubber gasket on it. So, but something that's airtight that'll keep the stain from drying out. But this, just a, you know, a recycled jar from jam or spaghetti sauce or whatever is going to work just fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some water and I'm going to pour that about halfway-ish. And then, and then I'm going to take this instant coffee. This is cheap instant coffee. I bought this, I'm thinking, at Aldi. Or if you can find it at the Dollar Tree, even better. But wherever you find the cheapest possible instant coffee, because we're not going for taste here, folks. We just need color. And I'm going to mix this like pretty darn strong. I'm probably putting in a good, you know, 1/2 to 2/3 of a cup in there. I keep wanting to put this lid on this thing and it's not working. Don't mind me, folks. She's just a little crazy sometimes. Okay. So I want to mix it pretty strong. Why? Because it's still going to get diluted again with glue and a little bit of vanilla, which does have color, but it's not like a super strong color. So you want the color to be, you know, fairly strong in that coffee. So I'm going to stir that. I want to stir it really well and make sure that that coffee is well and dissolved. Would it be easier with hot water? Probably. But it doesn't have to be. The crystals will dissolve in water either way. So you just want to kind of give that a good stir. and that even already kind of thickened it up a little bit too, which is good. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to put just like a teensy little bit of isopropyl alcohol in there. And that's just because coffee, being an organic matter, and we're also putting some vanilla in there. It might mold or grow something funky, you know, so we don't want it to do that. So, and I'm just going to pour, you know, maybe like a tablespoon's worth of vanilla in there. And really, it's for nothing more than just adding a nice scent, a little bit of extra richening in the color. And I tell you what, it does. It smells wonderful when you heat it up with the heat gun. It makes your whole studio smell. And then I'm just going to top this off with the Elmer's clear washable glue. This, like I said in the video, the original person that I saw this kind of recipe from was Joe's Jersey Journals on YouTube. She hasn't really posted any new videos in a year, but she does have out on her channel. She does do this. She uses Eileen's clear craft glue, but that's more expensive than this. And so I wanted to try it with clear Elmer's to see if I could get a stain that worked for me and was less expensive. And let me tell you, I made my stains more than a year ago and I haven't even made a dent in, you know, so I mean, this is super cheap. So really, we're just gonna mix this up. Well, this looks really nice and rich. I think this one might be darker than mine.
Good.
And that's okay. You know, I mean, the nice thing about this stain though, is if you do end up with it on, like, yeah, this looks like Hershey's chocolate. But
I don't think it tastes like Hershey's.
It probably doesn't, but it probably doesn't taste too bad. Considering it's
kindergarten
considering it, yeah, don't eat the paste. But considering it's coffee and vanilla, it could taste okay. But don't eat it. Don't eat it. It's safe and non-toxic, but don't eat it, please. It's not for food. This is for staining only. Anyway, what I was saying, but it does layer really nicely if you want to put a second coat to make it darker on your piece. It layers just really beautifully. I've sometimes layered colors. So if I want to start with a tea stain and then put a little bit of coffee stain on there, or start with a green and put a little brown, or you know what I mean. It's really nice. I need a paper towel. Here we go. Let's get that up. So let's just kind of get that all back into its little home there.
Your roll of paper towels is all underneath the table.
Yep, that's where I keep it.
Oh, okay.
When people don't steal it. Because that does happen. My 22-year-old son shares this space. On the other side of this room is his kitchenette. And so mom often finds her paper towels missing. So let's try this out.
That was pretty simple.
It was. It's very simple and it's very quick and it's very cheap. So there you go. Let's try a little bit of this on a swatch of matte board, like what we were doing for those pop caps, but I'm not going to use this teeny tiny brush. Let's use something with some heft to it.
Where are your brushes?
I've got some, I've left my good brushes in the whoopsie doodles.
In the whoopsie
doodles. I'm terrible. I need a new paper towel. Oh. For somebody who spends so much money on good paint brushes, I don't treat them very well all the time. Okay, so let's just try, and a little goes a long way. So just, you know, grab a little bit and I'm gonna
nice.
put a larger swatch on there so I can show you how it layers. So that's actually a really nice coffee color. So I'm gonna grab the heat gun and just dry this, and it dries very quickly. So let's like I said before when I was doing the postage stamps, if it was a full minute, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, no, that wasn't.
It's very quick. So
Have you tried putting that through a stencil just to see if it would?
I haven't. We can absolutely do that. I think if you were a light enough hand with the stain, it probably would work, or used a sponge.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, let's just do that. And I'll show you how it layers when we get a stencil. Now, the one thing to keep in mind with this, though, is if you do use this with the stencil, is you're going to want to make sure you clean the stencil.
Yeah, because it will,
you know,
it's got glue in it.
Yeah, for sure. And then what I might do instead of using a brush for this is I might just take like a little bit of paper towel and grab and dab with a paper towel instead of with my brush this time.
Well, I was just wondering because to take and make stenciled coffee dyed paper is so time consuming.
Yes. So what I also have done, if this doesn't work, I'm going to wipe off my stencil while it's still on there to kind of push that in a little bit, and let's see what happens. It's okay. I wonder.
Well, it gives it some texture.
It gives it some texture, but you can see how it layers. And let me dry this. So yeah, I mean, it does do good. But what you can do, so I also keep at my desk a spray bottle full of coffee. And that's probably not going to work either. But if you were to stencil with the spray, and that might not work. I might be making a debacle of this, but
well, maybe that you're going to melt your pencil.
Kind of dry it a little bit. This is, but it's experimenting like this when we find the cool techniques. You know, some of them work, some of them don't. Anywho, but what I have done in the past is, you know, stenciled through either with coffee spray or with my distress stains. Okay. And then taken my coffee stain.
Oh, going over top
and
of
gone over the top of it. And it really gives you that. It brings it out. Okay. So now the next thing I would show you with this, let's set this one aside and pull out another piece here. All right, let me grab, I'll show you what I mean by I use this with the napkins. Let me find a scrap of napkin here, or a piece of tissue. Here we go. There we go. So here I've got some napkin, and it's still got the hind layers on it here. Which, of course, I'm like, do I have a piece of tape? There we go. Let's see if this one will work. No, not sure where my masking tape ran off to. It's a constant struggle in my studio, guys. My stuff is always... Somebody goes, Mom, do you have XYZ? And I'm like, sure, I've got some in the studio. And then the next thing I know, all my stuff is missing. So if you don't know this trick, if you're trying to delaminate a napkin, little piece of tape. Does this have one more layer on it? It might. Yep. Little piece of tape. This will kind of grab that that extra layer there. So I'm going to just do that quick. And then what I do, I grab my glue stick or a glue stick. Okay. And put that down where I want to put the napkin. And then I lay my napkin over it. Okay. And I don't even have to wait till the glue stick's dry. And I could come back in with my coffee stain and paint over the top of that napkin instead of using Mod Podge or matte medium if I want a coffee stained look anyway.
Fast and simple.
Fast and simple, very. And again, now this is going to take a little bit longer to dry because of the layers and the fact that that napkin soaks up more of the stain. But again, it's likely only going to be just a couple minutes. It's not fully dry yet, but it's, you know, set into place. What I like about when I use the heat gun, it kind of crinkles the napkin a little bit and I get this really nice aged grungy texture on it. And I really like that. Now you want to be careful if you're using a heat gun on this, instead of letting it air dry, keep that heat gun moving so that you don't overheat any one particular area, because it does have a glue base and there's that glue stick underneath it. It will bubble if you get too hot. So keep that heat gun moving, and maybe don't like dry it all the way, but just, you know, get it most of the way there, and then set it aside for a few minutes while it for it to finish up. It looks like
the stain lightens up a little bit too once it dries.
It does. It lightens up a little bit once it dries. But yeah, this is a nice rich dark color. So anyway.
And it's now mine.
And it's now yours. So this one is yours.
Thank you.
Cap on tight. Merry early Christmas there. So are you ready to experiment and see if we can make a different, you know, color you want? If you were to pick a second color of stain. I get a lot of, probably the one I use the second most is my green. But
yeah, I was gonna say green or teal or something like that, maybe.
Okay. Oh, there's a phthalo blue. See if I can get the cap off of that. Maybe not. Oh, I did. Okay.
That looks like one we might have bought you when you were little.
Yep. That's why when I said they're 30 years old, I think, yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna do the same thing in here, except this time we don't need to add alcohol or anything. We're not gonna add alcohol. We're not gonna add vanilla because we're working with paint, water, glue. But I'm gonna add this until it's halfway full.
You don't need a huge amount of it either, but
yeah, you probably don't need to make the full jar. I'm gonna add, and remember, like watercolor in the tube, a little goes a long way. So I'm not gonna add a super lot. And phthalo blue, if you're using that color, is an especially strong pigment, so you really don't need a lot of that. And this one was Hooker's Green, and probably not as great a pigment as the Grumbacher, so we're gonna add just like a bit more. We'll try that.
How much was that?
I mean, on the, excuse me, on the phthalo blue, I think it was just like a drip.
Okay.
On the Hooker's green, this is a lesser quality pigment, so it takes more paint to get the same color boost. I added maybe like a pea size amount.
Okay.
But it is going to completely depend on what type of paint you're using, what quality of paint you're using, what colors within the paint spectrum you're using. There's just so many variables. So this is definitely I can give you what supplies to use and give you kind of a place to start, but you're going to have to do trial and error to find, you know, what you're looking for. Now, what's the worst that happens if I get this and it's too rich in color? You pour a little bit of the stain out,
put some
and it puts some more water or glue or something in there to kind of offset it. If it's not strong enough, well, then you can put some additional watercolor in there, and it's just kind of, you go from there. That's why it's nice to leave maybe a little bit of room in there. So anyway, I'm just shaking up the watercolor and the water right now till it's really good and incorporated, so we don't have any paint blobbies in there. And what I'm going to do is just grab this spoon. I want to see a little bit of that water. What do you think of that color?
That's pretty. It's a little light, but it's pretty.
Yeah. Well, you want it kind of like, especially I think with blues and greens and stuff, you don't really want it to be too dark and overpowering. So I think having it on the lighter side is good, but I still saw that there were some paint granules in there, so I'm going to shake it up and get my exercise in there. If you got a shaker ball or something, that might be good to put in there, but I'm just going to kind of give that another little...
A marble or something?
Yeah. Okay, it's better. We'll see. I don't know. This might end up being kind of grainy looking, but that might end up being kind of cool too. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? So I'm going to take then, and I won't fill up the rest of the jar with glue. I'm just going to fill it till it's about like double the size of the liquid that's in there. And we're down to the bottom of this bottle now, so it's just going to kind of take a bit. It's going to be about time for me to order another bundle of these. I ordered these on Amazon, and they came in, I think, a 4 or a 6 pack was the best price I could get per ounce. You can buy it in a gallon size, but the price per ounce was actually better
that way.
This way. So watch that.
I bought a small bottle at, I don't know, Michael's or Walmart or somewhere the other day.
Yeah.
Just for, and actually I've been using it for just like
I've used it.
Glue,
yeah, I've used it for a few times. It works really good. My only complaint is that it does take longer to dry.
Yep.
So it's not something that I'm going to use for quick drying purposes, although it dries really quick under the heat gun here. Remember, it's also diluted halfway, so there's a lot of water in it. But if you're just using it straight out of the bottle for gluing on your projects, just make sure you're giving it some time. But what is nice, because it takes longer to dry, it's got that longer open time. You've got some wiggle room if you need to reposition something.
Mm-hmm. And it's less expensive than using Fabri-Tac because of that.
For that purpose, yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't glue fabric down with this. I don't think it's strong enough. But
a lot of people will use the Fabri-Tac just to glue paper to paper because it gives you some open time to wiggle it. And
I don't get that, because I hate trying to get that stuff out of the tube or out of the bottle, even when it's in the Sugar Bell bottle.
I know it does. It's
and it's so expensive, so I don't get that. Personally, I would rather spend the money on the art glitter glue, or, you know, because it's just so much easier to use. Although that does grab really quick. But yeah, if you're looking for something that gives you just some more open time, just go with the clear Elmer's, man. If you're just doing a paper to paper. Come on. Like, it's just really taking its time there, but I think that was about the right amount. So let's give this a spin. See what we end up with, huh?
Now, does that glue smell? No, it's
nope,
not.
it's got no scent to it at all.
Doesn't have acetone or anything in it.
Nope. Nope, it is a water-based. Is it a PVA? It does say it's not for photos. Yeah, I don't know what it's made out of. It doesn't really say what the base is, but it's, yeah, I mean, it's a water-based glue, but it's, you know. For perfect projects every time, goes on clear, dries clear, repositional before setting, and it's safe and non-toxic. Craft and school projects, or clear slime, or craft stain. I think this needs just a bit more glue. It's still kind of, watery. And I do like it to have just a little bit more body to it. So I am gonna add some more glue. This is going to be completely up to your preference. If you like your stain waterier, then by all means, keep it waterier. Waterier? More watery? I speak English, I promise.
Really?
Keep it on the more watery side, but if you like it with a little bit more heft to it, then, you know, veer more towards the glue. It's really completely up to you. If you want to add a scent to it, you could get clear vanilla so that it doesn't change the color. We're not eating this. Remember, we're not eating this. But you could get clear vanilla, or you could get almond extract or something like that. But then since you are adding something that's food-based, you might want to add a little bit of the alcohol then if you're doing that. Or if you have, I don't know, some other sort of something. But then, you know, just be careful what you're adding to things that might not mix so well. I would probably stick to, you know, things that you know. All right, so that's mixed pretty well. It looks like I got most of the paint globbies out of it. You want to try it?
Yep.
All right, let's see how we did. And there's still room in there if we need to add more paint or.
There's your big brush.
All right, we got the brush. Paper towels is what I'm looking for here. I just want to make sure I have one at the ready. Here we go. Okay. Oh yeah, that's still got some.
Water.
Yeah, let's where's the cap for that? Oh,
you didn't give it to me.
One thing I will say about these Talenti containers, don't put them in the dishwasher on a heated cycle because they do not do well. They do warp out of. So that's why this one for my water, it's got a tilty bottom, so I always put it inside the lid so that if I knock on it, it doesn't knock over as easily. And that's why it does not get used for stain. Which just means I need to go buy some more gelato. Because I need some more stain containers. Yeah, this one is very, very light. And it did kind of come out with like just a few little paint flakes in it, but it's pretty. I want to dry this and just see how well it layers.
I can't see because you got your.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like it's very and by watery I mean like color wise.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think of that? Now for me, on like if I'm just doing the back of a tag or what, you know, something like that, and I just want to knock the white down, I might like that. I might not want anything too much darker than that for general use.
Right. So
and
if you put more on
if I wanted something darker, I could put another layer on. Let's see what that does. see, and there's a little bit of paint that got just a little bit streaky. So I would say probably watercolor is not my favorite. So yes, it does still layer beautifully. So you can see that was with one coat and that was with the second coat. So this one is very subtle, but if you wanted to, we could always add more paint to it to get it, you know, but I think from a
background standpoint,
a blue perspective, because you really probably don't want something that's super overpowering. And if you did, because look at what we could still do with this. No idea where my, there we go. There we go. Just pop one of these suckers on, but you know, if I really wanted something, you know, look how gorgeous that is. That's Faded Jeans Distress ink around the edge with that blue stain. I think looks really nice.
Very pretty.
So there you go. So that one's good. But I think the final, so there you go.
Thank you.
The final way that I can do this is with food coloring. So let's give that a go and see what we can do with it. Okay, so we've got some water here. Sorry, a jar here. I'll put some water in it. And let's see, what would be... Now I have got tea stain, green, lavender, coffee stain, but what I don't have is any sort of a red or pink anything. So I think what I might do, that one's pink. Incense purple. I didn't know incense was purple. Bean paste pink. Anyway, these are food colors. I just ordered a set on Amazon. Cherry pink.
What was the color the one lady asked you to do on?
She said either purple or blue. So I already have purple. We just did blue. So there's a rose color. Purple red. Cherry red. I think I'm getting down to the bottom of my pinks. I don't know what color this is. Cochineous? No idea. But I'm kind of intrigued by it. I'm looking for something maybe in the more antique rose realm of things. Don't you think? Because if I want to skew that a little bit closer to like a cooler pink, I can always layer some purple with it.
Yeah.
So I think just kind of looking at these labels and hoping that they're, let's just see what this does. I'm just going to put one drop in there so that I can see what the color does. Come on. Ooh, that looks reddish.
Which one was that?
That was, it said it was, oh, do you want to go rinse that off for me? I'm sorry. I'll use a paintbrush to stir this around. That was that one I couldn't pronounce.
Oh.
It's very pretty though. But I think I need something pinkier. Let's try the bean paste. I think I like that one better. we're gonna do bean paste, and maybe
I don't have any idea what color bean paste is.
And maybe just like a couple of drops of this cherry pink. I don't know. I'm just playing now. I have no idea what color that's actually going to make, but looks pretty. And I think it's going to take a lot more coloring in this than it would for the watercolor, because this stuff isn't like extraordinarily strong. Yeah. So I think I'm going to actually like kind of load this. Cow. Yeah. Because remember, you know, I'm diluting this again with
glue.
With glue. Yeah. Maybe we'll put just a smidge of that in there. And oh, what the heck, maybe some pink. I'm just gonna, you know. Okay. So, all right.
I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, let's hurry up and do this here. All right. Well, that's pretty sounding.
Oh dear. Well, yeah, this would be enough stain to last you for a lifetime.
Oh yeah, you know, I'm probably not going to have to make stain unless I want a different color.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Did we get the spoon?
Right there.
There we go. So, you could potentially use beet juice for this, which I am happy to do an experiment. If anybody'd like to see me do this with beet juice, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to experiment.
Who's going to eat the beets?
I will eat the beets. I love beets. Nobody else in this house does, but I do.
I do too.
But that's kind of almost what this color, it's not quite purpley enough, but it's closing in on pickled beet brine. Okay, so here we go. Let's see here. Like I said, a little goes a long way. Oh yeah, that's pretty.
pretty.
It's not quite as antique rose as I was hoping. It is definitely a pink, you know, pinky red. But I'll show you something in just a second. I'll put a nice big swatch of this on there. And this one's pretty strong too. I did put a lot of coloring in that. So I might thin that down just a little bit with some more water, but it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's very pretty. So I'm going to dry that. All right, let's dry this one.
You could use these stains, I think, to like color labels. To, you know, if you've got a label that's mostly white, you want to add some color to it. Either use the coffee stain or whatever color you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well, and what I love to do with this too is take a piece of like scrapbook paper that maybe is something that's uglier that, you know.
Yeah, and then just...
But you slap some coffee stain or something on that, and all of a sudden it's, oh, this one's a little... Got to make sure you wipe off the lid a little bit. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to get that one open. Okay. I'll just use the coffee stain then.
I was going to ask you what happens if you put coffee stain over that.
So if I put coffee stain over this, and my coffee stain is lighter than the one that you have. I made mine on the light side. And I do have a dog hair stuck in there, but you know, so there's kind of the the grungier version. I also have, oh, that's my tea stain one. Jeez. Have Matt open that for me. There we go. I also have a lavender stain. So I thought, well, what if I wanted something that was a little, you know, let's really go crazy here and layer a little bit of lavender over the top of that. That's pretty too.
Yes, it is. Now, what did you use to make the lavender?
I had a distress re-inker and potentially some food coloring. I don't remember, but it was a combination of things. I remember when I was fixing to make a bunch of stains, I ordered some distress re-inkers, and I ordered a few different colors to get the tea stain color that I wanted. Because the tea dye color in the distress stains wasn't quite what I was looking for. I wanted something just a little bit more golden. So I think there's some dried marigold in there and, you know, some different things. So I mixed some different things. So if you're going to use distress re-inkers, you know, you can go with exactly what the color is or mix and match to make what you want. But that's kind of why the food coloring is nice.
I just bought some ink pad that's in a brushed corduroy, which I really like.
I love brushed corduroy. That's a great color.
I kind of like the one with purple.
Yeah. But if I would have been able to get my tea stain open, that would have taken this color back towards kind of more of a warmer red, or even a little bit orangey. But the brown on that, it looks really nice. And I think you know, that's really cool too. So, yeah, this isn't like fully dry. But the other final thing I just wanted to show is that you can write on this. So I wanted to just grab a pen. So if you're worried about doing the back of your tags or something with it, you can write on it just fine.
Right.
So it's a very versatile supply to have around your studio. So there you go, guys. There's our e-papery version of the colored stains. Have fun making your own. Let me know what you think of this project down in the comments. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. We'd love to have you stick around. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.